Hello everyone from the Heart of Time channel. In the early hours of the morning, the Hamas tunnels in Gaza are being operated with an unprecedented tactic. We have researched the issue for you based on global news agencies that Israel will install pumps in Gaza to fill Hamas tunnels with seawater. The Israeli Defense Forces on Twitter and other media outlets reported that the IDF has not yet decided whether to proceed with its plan to flood the terror group's underground passages and hiding places. Israel has drawn up plans to flood Hamas's tunnel system in the Gaza Strip with water pumped from the Mediterranean Sea, according to a report on Monday. The move is aimed at destroying the terror group's underground network of passages and hiding places and bringing its fighters above ground. Quoting U.S. officials, the Wall Street Journal reported last month that the Israel Defense Forces installed 5 large water pumps near the Al-Shadi refugee camp in Gaza City that could flood the tunnels within weeks by pumping thousands of cubic meters of water into them per hour. Israel warned the United States last month about the plan, but has not yet decided whether to implement it, officials said in another breaking news statement. The IDF announced that its soldiers have discovered more than 800 tunnel shafts in the Gaza Strip since the start of the ground offensive targeting Hamas, which began at the end of October, and that about 500 of them have already been destroyed. What happened on the front line today? Let's get started. Raids in the West Bank make history. The Israeli military unexpectedly attacked Hamas strongholds. Now that things had stalled in Gaza for a while, the Israeli army was looking to take action in the West Bank. Israeli soldiers conducted special actions in the northern part of Jerusalem. Initial reports indicated that the Al-Bari district, located north of Ramallah, was the target of an Israeli security force attack. Israeli forces raided targets in the region where Hamas had been previously identified. Israeli forces conducted an incursion into the nearby Hamas building and began firing shots in this regard. After that, Israeli forces exposed the terrorists who had been sheltering here. Israeli forces defeated the insurgents in the ensuing fighting. Israeli forces then proceeded to raid the Shuafat area, in the southern part of the area. The tunnel entrance that the terrorist organization Hamas had previously identified in this vicinity was the target of Israeli forces' attacks. The Israeli soldiers fired upon the terrorists as they raided this tunnel's entrance. There was significant damage to this tunnel entry that connects Jerusalem to the West Bank. Reportedly, Israeli forces neutralized a handful of exposed Hamas militants. Multiple nodes in Hamas's vast tunnel network are under attack. It is well known that the tunnels reach well beyond Gaza, into the West Bank, and beyond. Israeli forces target and destroy Hamas tunnels in numerous places after gathering intelligence during operations on these tunnels. Israeli forces are destroying Hamas tunnel openings in several places, causing terrorists to lose their advantage. Reportedly, following the attacks, Israeli forces advanced northward from the Jenin area and entered the area. Israeli tanks advanced into the Jenin district and immediately initiated an operation in the southern Qabatia region. They went for the positions of terrorists and Hamas leaders in the area. As a result, fighting broke out in the area, leading to the elimination of terrorists who had taken refuge in the streets. The Israeli army's goal in the West Bank is to weaken Hamas's influence and force the terrorist group to concede defeat on another front. Major operations, as you may recall, led to the destruction of Hamas positions, particularly in the northern part of the Gaza Strip. After destroying numerous Hamas military infrastructures, the Israeli army subsequently encircled crucial sites. In recent days, the Israeli army has begun to step up its preparations. Israeli forces are reportedly preparing for a massive attack on the Gaza Strip. The deployment of infantry in the border regions and the expansion of military equipment ensure these preparations. Israeli forces are preparing to launch a southern incursion into the Gaza Strip. This is also part of the strategy to encircle the terrorist group in the south, Even terrorist deployment becomes impossible when multiple locations are under siege. Even if terrorists manage to get inside the tunnels, Israeli forces will still raid them underneath, so they will either have to surrender or find another way to flee. As a result of the raids, the terrorist group is still taking a beating. The Israeli army is anticipating an imminent expansion of the scope of its operations. The Israeli army is increasing the scope of its operations in an effort to destroy the terrorist organization. That way, terrorists won't be able to launch any attacks. If their assault fails, the insurgents will be forced to seek refuge in the tunnels or make a break for it. Because of this, the insurgents' defeat will come sooner rather than later. As a result, the Israeli army is expected to intensify and accelerate its operations in various locations. Even in northern Israel, tensions grew sharply. Let us remind you that you can help us with a great thank you before we move on to vital developments. We devote the majority of our day to bringing you the latest and greatest news, with all the details. Another way you can help us out is by donating to our cause. We want to emphasize how much your support means to us. It truly motivates and inspires us. Now let's transfer our attention to the happenings up north. On this occasion, the terrorist organization Hezbollah was unable to launch its drone strike on the Haifa region. The Israeli military successfully captured an unmanned aerial vehicle in the region's sky. The Israeli military claimed credit for successfully capturing the suspicious flying target with the help of its air defense system. The next day, a missile attack originating in southern Lebanon targeted Israeli land. As soon as Israeli air defenses activated, air raid sirens began to wail in the vicinity. The Israeli air defenses intercepted and destroyed this Hezbollah rocket. It was likewise pointless to destroy the Hezbollah rocket. The Israeli army launched retaliatory assaults. Warplanes began to attack in this direction. Israeli airplanes attacked Hezbollah's strongholds in southern Lebanon. Israeli warplanes launched assaults against the towns of Mis, Marjiyun, Al-Jabal, and Blida. Missiles fired from warplanes targeted Hezbollah strongholds, command posts, and observation towers in these areas. From these vantage points, flames rose as a consequence of precise assaults. The actions taken by Israel resulted in extensive damage to numerous Hezbollah military facilities, making them completely useless. Hezbollah terrorists are seeing a dramatic reduction in their offensive and military forces as a result. They are finding it extremely challenging to launch any kind of offensive. The terrorist group experiences a precipitous fall in influence on multiple occasions as a result of this predicament. Additionally, reports indicated that the Israeli army ramped up its warplane missions over several districts in southern Lebanon. Israeli airplanes were seen engaging in heavy, medium-altitude flying, particularly over areas like Nabatea. Israeli troops strike when they observe a Hezbollah terrorists' activities in these regions and suspect their maneuvers betray important positions. These Israeli operations have greatly reduced terrorist groups' attack potential. Because of continuous reconnaissance and blocking terrorist movements before offensive operations, we hit militants and military infrastructure. Terrorists are running out of tools. This reduces attacks overall. There are three ways for the Israeli army to improve its offensive and defensive capabilities. The Israeli army can improve its offensive and defensive capabilities in various ways. The Gaza Strip is our first target. To attack Gaza, North and South military actions will increase. Next, we'll visit Hamas leaders' homes, like Khan Yunus's. Proceed south of Lebanon. Hezbollah's capacity to coordinate attacks and turn any crisis into an opportunity will raise tensions in northern Israel. Retaliation and counter-retaliation await southern Lebanon terrorists. We will achieve this goal by providing military equipment and defense systems to the north. The West Bank is another alternative. Israel raided Jenin with multiple tanks earlier in the day. The Israeli army moved many Merkava tanks and armored vehicles from the frontier to the northern West Bank.